Doug Glass is ready to make the bathroom of your dreams a reality. Doug Glass is a full-service provider of quality custom shower doors. We offer a wide selection of models, finishes, and glass options. From cast to pattern glass, we can custom build a shower door perfect for your bathroom. Stop in and see the heavy glass displays in our showroom. And remember, Doug Glass also offers puller seal windows and patio doors. We're also your local source for auto glass, from windshields to side and rear windows. Whatever your needs, call or visit Doug Glass today for a free estimate.
Our mission at the Wexford Misaki Career Technical Center is to prepare you for career success. During your junior and senior year, you can explore and train for career options in one of 15 hands-on programs. While you're exploring and training, you can take advantage of free college credits, scholarships, co-op on-the-job training, industry certifications, and career counseling. All of this while you're in high school. Enrollment is easy and free. Are you ready to explore and train for your career at the Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center?
High school sports are brought to you in part by Wolverine Power Cooperative and by Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you.
Welcome back to Veterans Memorial Stadium. Second half action nearly here on the horizon as we pick up the Michigan High School football game of the week between the TC Central Trojans and the Cadillac Vikings. The visitors lead 12-3. I'm Derek Tate. And this showdown in the Big North Conference has lived up to the billing. If you are just joining us for the second half, the scoring up to this point, and it's been the Josh Burnham show, and there's a reason why you're going to see this young man playing on Saturdays. You're going to see him on TV because he's getting all kinds of attention from D1 schools, and for good reason. First, he started off the party with a 69-yard touchdown run on the ground in the first quarter. Second quarter, the Vikings had a drive stall inside the 5-yard line, settled for a 22-yard field goal, courtesy of Colin Hess. And then Josh Burnham and Austin Bills, the Killer Bees, a killer drive to end the first half, punched in and put the exclamation point on by Josh Burnham. They went 0 for 2 on 2-point conversion attempts, and that's how we've arrived at 12-3. It was last season the win for the Trojans against these Cadillac Vikings that clinched the Big North Conference title, the first for the Trojans since 2016. And I don't know if it'll quite clinch it this early, but it could put them significantly in the driver's seat for the rest of the 2020 NFL season. Michigan high school football season, that is. Colin Hess to kick off, as the Trojans will start with the football to begin the second half. And this kick is taken by Carson Hall at the 15-yard line. Hall looking for some room to run. He finds a little bit up the right sideline before he is finally knocked out of bounds by Noah Cochran. Josh Burnham scored 2 touchdowns, both on the ground on 2 of the 3 first-half possessions for this TC Central offense. They dropped 41 on the Cadillac Vikings last season. Vikings have done a much better job, though, on the defensive side of the football. They held TC Central to 149 yards total in the first half. And we'll see the TC Central offense to begin the second half as Austin Bills puts the ball on the floor. It's a fumble, and it's picked up. Blake Swiger to the 20. The big fella's going to rumble in. Touchdown, Cadillac Vikings. Are you kidding me? The junior, Blake Swiger, rumbles into the end zone. And all of a sudden, we have ourselves a one-score game here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Mama, look what I found. There's nothing quite more exciting than watching a big fella rumble into the end zone. And Blake Swiger with 5 tackles earlier in the first half. And that's not a bad way to start things here for the Cadillac Vikings. And all of a sudden, that 2-score cushion is down to 3 points with the extra point pending. Colin Hess on to attempt the extra point. Oh, low snap. That one's on the floor. Extra point is good. It looked like one ref was going to wave no good, but the one on the right side of the field goal near side post says it's good. Disaster averted. And the Cadillac Vikings, who trailed by 9 points heading into the second half, all of a sudden it's a 2-point game after the fumble recovery for a touchdown by Blake Swiger. That was the first touchdown of Blake Swiger's high school career. I hope it's not the only one, though, because that was exciting. An eventful 21 seconds to begin the second half here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. We don't see Austin Bills cough it up all that often. And all of a sudden, the Cadillac Vikings are right back in this football game. And you felt with how effectively they moved the ball in the first half. They just had a couple mishaps that likely cost the Vikings some points. But they have something go their way to start the second half. And we're going to see the TC Central Trojans challenged. For the first time this season, Colin has to kick off. And it's going right towards Carson Hall. He takes it at the 15-yard line. Hall cuts it upfield. Hall slips a tackle. Sidesteps another. And now the ball's on the floor again. Another fumble. Cadillac's got it. Back-to-back fumbles. And the Vikings recover. It's Carter Harsh. Carson Hall looked like he may take that one the distance, but it got poked out from behind. And Carter Harsh falls on it, and the Vikings all of a sudden have the ball with possession and a chance to take the lead in the first 32 seconds of the second half. Vikings with a 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Cochran on the carry. 3-yard gain brought down by Ryan Royston. Vikings had an efficient attack on the ground. If you remember back to last season where the Vikings averaged 2.7 yards per carry, only 157 yards on the ground on 58 carries. That has not been the case here tonight. They have been much more effective. 2nd and 7 for Cadillac. Pitch goes Reinhold, and that play is blown up in the backfield. It never stood a chance. And that's Carson Bordeaux, the free safety. Blows that play up for a 3-yard loss. And if this is holding on Cadillac, and it is, it's not a holding, but it is a penalty on the Cadillac Vikings. It's a decision for head coach Eric Schugers. Do you want to take the 3-yard loss and force a 3rd and 10, or back him up and give him an extra opportunity on 2nd down? And he will choose to accept the penalty. And that'll move the Vikings back into their own territory at the 39-yard line, a costly penalty for the Vikings. And you are going to have a 2nd and 23 for Cadillac. Vikings completed one pass in the first half. A 19-yarder to Colin Johnston, 2nd and 23. Give goes to Carter Harsh, and that counter tray is not going anywhere. Josh Burnham all over that one. That's his 5th tackle of the game. Gain of 1. That'll make it 3rd and 22 for Cadillac. The Vikings called 6 passing plays in the first half, But Gurdon did a lot of his damage tucking it down and scrambling. And we'll see what they elect to go for on 3rd and 22. Gurdon pressured, steps up in the pocket, and he is going to be sacked for the first time tonight. And that's going to be Parker Schmidt. And head coach Eric Schuger mentioned about Parker Schmidt. He's been the most consistent player on the consistent presence up front on the defensive side of the football. Last week against Petoskey, he had 4 tackles, 2 of them for a loss. And he records the first sack of this contest, and that'll bring on the punting unit for Cadillac. A bad long snap, but Colin Hess is able to recover it. And a little bit less than desired results on that punt, but it is kicked out of bounds into TC Central territory at the 45-yard line. And the last 2 times the Trojans have had the ball, they've coughed it up. The first one recovered by Blake Swiger, the second recovered by Carter Harsh on the ensuing kickoff. So the Trojans now have technically their 3rd possession of the 3rd quarter at the 45-yard line. 1st and 10. Bills on the carry. Austin Bills weaving his way through traffic into Cadillac territory for a gain of 6. 2nd and 4 for TC Central. And there is a man down for the Vikings. Big old number 77, the senior, Ryan Warner. As we'll take a second to see Ryan Warner attended to. He is up and walking off the field on his own power. So that is an encouraging sign. We'll take this moment, break in the action, to go ahead and thank our sponsors for tonight's contest here for the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. Wolverine Power Cooperative, Great Lakes Energy, and Doug Glass, your window show specialists. 2nd and 4 for TC Central, just inside Vikings territory at the 49-yard line. Burnham working out of the shotgun, 2 running backs. Bills on the counter, cuts it upfield and falling forward, and that should be enough to move the chains for TC Central. And there's bodies flying all over the place. Things starting to get a little bit chippy between these 2 rivals in the Big North Conference. Imagine a player of Austin Bill's caliber wants the ball after coughing it up. Burnham back to pass on 1st and 10. Lets it rip down the field. He's got a man wide open, just out of the reach of his intended target. He had Dante Williams open by a mile and just couldn't quite connect with him. And Burnham wishes he had that one back. And when asking head coach Eric Schuger about Dante Williams, a talented junior that gained a ton of experience, and you saw it right there. Could have made a big play, but instead, incomplete pass, 2nd and 10, and here's the hold on Josh Burnham. There is a little bit of miscommunication between him and Carson Hall on the jet sweep. And instead, minimal gain, and we go from what could have been a 45-yard touchdown strike to 3rd and 9. That's the second time Burnham has been unable to connect deep. He'll be throwing likely on 3rd and 9. Back to passes Burnham. He's got a screen set up, and Dante Williams is off and running. And Williams is going to have the first down, but there was a flag back at the 41-yard line. So hold the phone. This might be coming back. Now, was it holding or was it potentially a legal man downfield? Now, it was behind the line of scrimmage, but if it wasn't, then we saw a ton of offensive line. Yep, a legal lineman, a legal man downfield. So that one's coming back. Head coach Eric Schuger's dialed up a nifty play call. but not quite executed to perfection. And it proves costly. So instead of having 1st and 10 at the 33, we have 3rd and 20, and the penalty backs the Trojans all the way back into their own territory. Well, now it's back to midfield. I appreciate the referees keeping me on my toes. 3rd and 15 at midfield. Burnham out of the shotgun, trips to his right. Burnham back to pass with time. Sacked! Derek Rude on the sack for the Cadillac Vikings. His first sack of the season. And we'll likely see the Trojans bring out the punting unit. And the Vikings defense showing why this defensive unit is much different than the one that these Trojans saw last season. And that brings up 4th and long. Back to receive the punt is Keenan Szymanski. High snap. Punt is still off. And it looked like it touched Austin Bills right around the 25-yard line. It might have touched his foot. And it does not appear that the referees thought that it hit his foot. So potentially a little bit of a lucky bounce, so to say, for TC Central. And the Vikings will take over possession at their own 9-yard line. And if you're tuning in and you didn't see the start of the 3rd quarter, you missed a little bit of something. Like Swiger, the big fella, with a fumble recovery for a touchdown. As we had a 12-3 game at halftime, and it is now 12-10. They actually fumbled the ensuing kickoff, but the Vikings were unable to capitalize. A couple penalties. They ended up punting. Now the Trojans had a drive stall into Cadillac territory. Penalties also backed them into their own territory. And this will be the second offensive possession for Cadillac in the 3rd quarter. Cadillac working under center. The junior quarterback, Aiden Gurdon, trying to work a drive to give his team the lead. And an off pitch, Colin Johnson able to gather it, and luckily, but it is a loss of 6. And that's the second time tonight that Colin Johnson and Aiden Gurdon have not been on the same page, and that is not what you want to see. Colin Johnson on the ground, potentially dealing with some sort of shoulder injury, but we'll see if he's okay. He's up on his own accord. 6:01 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Trojans still lead the Vikings 12-10. You are watching Newsnet Sports. Michigan High School football game of the week as Colin Johnston is up on his own power and walking to the sideline. And we'll keep an eye on his involvement on both sides of the football, and hopefully it's not a serious injury. The Vikings offense is going the wrong direction here so far in the second half. 5-yard loss on the first play of the drive brings up 2nd and 15 at their own 4-yard line. The Vikings got to be careful. And we've seen this Trojan defense begin to set the edge a bit more aggressively here in the second half. It looks like an adjustment from head coach Eric Schugers. Gurdon under center on 2nd and 15. Gurdon gives to Cochran straight ahead. Cochran gets back the yardage lost and a little bit more. Gets them past their own 10-yard line, and that'll bring up 3rd and 9 for the Vikings. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive head coach Cody Mallory is this deep in his own territory. Vikings working out of the wing tee on 3rd and 9. Gurdon running the option, pitches it to Chris Reinhold around the left edge. Reinhold going to be knocked out of bounds right around the 16-yard line. There is a flag at the 10-yard line right at the point of contact. For Carter Harsh, there may be a flag on one of the two outside blockers. It is holding on Cadillac. It'll be interesting if head coach Eric Schugers decides to push him back. And they are going to take the half the distance to the goal penalty instead of a 4th and 5 in what would likely be a sure punting situation. They're going to give the Vikings another crack at it here. But the Vikings also are backed up on their own doorstep. So it's a calculated gamble by the Trojans head coach. 3rd and 15 for Cadillac at their own 5-yard line. They got to get to the 20 to extend the drive. Gurdon, Gibbs, Cochran. Cochran gets back the lost yardage, but he will still be 6 yards shy of the first down marker. And that'll bring out the punting unit. Cadillac backed up against their own wall, and an offensive possession that you feel fortunate that there's just no disaster after a bad pitch to Colin Johnston. We'll keep an eye on Colin Johnston. Still along the sideline. We'll see if he trots out and the defense takes the field. Colin Hess at his own 2-yard line to punt it. Back right around the 44-yard line is Carson Hall. Hess, that one a much better punt than his previous one. Hall, he touched it, able to gather it at his own 46. Hall, able to sidestep 2 tacklers, now 3. Hall still going, but finally dragged down at the 46-yard line. Colin Johnston is back on the football field. If Carson Hall doesn't play football in the NFL, he may have a future as a, what is it, a bull person? What is it called? A matador. That's it. Just olaying defenders all over the place. There is a flag in Cadillac territory, but looks like it is potentially waved off. And here's the 3rd offensive possession, technically the 4th possession of the Trojans offense here in the 3rd quarter. They still lead 12-10 with 3:40 remaining. Burnham, quarterback power. And he muscles his way into Cadillac territory. Gain of 7, and I'll bring up 2nd and 3. And Burnham, despite having his opportunities through the air, he has done the majority of his damage on the ground tonight. He entered tonight with 123 yards on the ground. He is now well over 200 for the season. 2nd and 3 for the Trojans. Burnham puts his shoulder down, and depending on the spot, we could have either had 3rd down or 1st and 10. They may bring out the chains for this one. And that looked like the exact play call that the Trojans scored on right before the end of the first half, which gave TC Central a 12-3 lead. They will bring out the chains unless they're going to try to, they're going to go ahead and wave them for a 1st down. The Vikings haven't done a good job bottling up Burnham for the most part, but we'll see how they handle him in the second half. Burnham, quick hitter, Carson Hall, and the Vikings rally to the football. That's going to be cut down for no gain. Luke Enyart setting the edge. brought down by a sea of purple was that quick little bubble screen to Carson Hall. Give it actually a half a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9 for TC Central. Direct snap, Austin Hall. Check that, Austin Bills, my apologies. And Bills brought down just shy of the 40-yard line. Vikings up to the challenge defensively as they've got a 3rd and 6 on the horizon. Austin Bills, 13 carries, just over 60 yards on the ground. 3rd and 7 for the Trojans. Burnham, reverse. Bordeaux around the edge, and he is dragged out of bounds. Carter Harsh dragged down Bordeaux right at the 35-yard line. It's going to be 4th and, well, they actually waived for a first down. That's the second. Yeah, they're deciding to move the chains. Couldn't quite get a clean look at where he was shoved out of bounds on the near sideline, but the spot, another favorable one for TC Central, and they've got a first down with 1:12 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Burnham, quick hitter. Hall, again. Hall's got some running room. First down and dragged down just shy of the 20-yard line by Keenan Szyminski, the sophomore making the tackle. 11-yard connection to Carson Hall, and the Trojans developing a little bit of a rhythm now. 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Hall gives to Bills, who spins off one would-be tackler and dragging Vikings defenders to the 15-yard line. Austin Bills, they've continued to feed him the rock. Starting to pay dividends. 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1 for TC Central. Burnham to Bordeaux. Bordeaux sidesteps out of 2 tacklers and finally popped by Colin Johnston just shy of the 10-yard line. It may be a full 10 yards for a 1st and goal from the 10. And we're going to get a look. It appears that it is 1st and goal from the 10. Burnham, quarterback keeper. Burnham still going, reaching for the end zone. Touchdown, Trojans! A 2nd and a 3rd effort, and the 3rd touchdown of the night for Josh Burnham. And the Trojans extend their lead to 18-10. Josh Burnham ran for 3 touchdowns against the Vikings last season, and he's got a hat trick on the ground yet again. And now they do try to attempt the extra point to make this a 2-score game. Snap, kick is down, kick is up, and good. So despite 2 consecutive fumbles to start the second half, the Trojans' offense settles down, and they give the ball to Burnham, and he finds pay dirt for the 3rd time. TC Central leads Cadillac 19-10 with 22 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. And there is a reason why you're going to see Josh Burnham playing on Saturdays, drawing attention from schools like Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson. You don't draw that type of attention unless you can really do some special things on the football field. We'll see Cadillac potentially receive this kick. Austin Sill has had a hard time keeping the ball in play. Has 2 illegal procedure penalties on his first 2 kicks of the game. Back to receive at the 10-yard line is Colin Johnston. He takes it right at the 16. Johnston tripped up and brought down just shy of the 35-yard line. That's where Cadillac will take over. They trail by 9 with 15 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Exciting game as we're looking at the cream of the crop here in the Big North Conference, and this one has lived up to the billing of a game of the week. Two teams undefeated, and will continue the next 2 weeks with Big North Conference play to finish out the 2020 season. Vikings operating and beginning their third drive at the 34-yard line. Reinhold in motion and gets the pitch. Reinhold slips out of one tackle and shoved out of bounds. Right around the 40. That should be good for a gain of 6. And that may be the final play of the third quarter. The clock does stop. Reinhold was shoved out of bounds. It will be a second and a long 4 for Cadillac, their own 40-yard line. Gurdon under center. Harsh in motion. Quarterback sweep right. Gurdon's got some room to run. Still on his feet into Trojan territory. And that'll be the final play of the third quarter as the Cadillac Vikings are threatening yet again into Trojan territory. They trail by 9 as we conclude the third quarter of action here on the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. The Trojans lead the Vikings by a score of 19-10. Don't go nowhere, as we'll be right back.
Doug Glass is ready to make the bathroom of your dreams a reality. Doug Glass is a full-service provider of quality custom shower doors. We offer a wide selection of models, finishes, and glass options. From cast to pattern glass, we can custom build a shower door perfect for your bathroom. Stop in and see the heavy glass displays in our showroom. And remember, Doug Glass also offers puller seal windows and patio doors. We're also your local source for auto glass, from windshields to side and rear windows. Whatever are your needs, call or visit Doug Glass today for a free estimate.
Our mission at the Wexford Misaki Career Technical Center is to prepare you for career success. During your junior and senior year, you can explore and train for career options in one of 15 hands-on programs. While you're exploring and training, you can take advantage of free college credits, scholarships, co-op on-the-job training, industry certifications, and career counseling. All of this while you're in high school. Enrollment is easy and free. Are you ready to explore and train for your career at the Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center?
High school sports are brought to you in part by Wolverine Power Cooperative and by Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you.
The conclusion of this Big North showdown on the horizon as the Vikings have possession, trailing 19-10 to begin the fourth and final quarter. I'm Derek Tate, and we get a 1st and 10 and a 2-yard loss for Aiden Gurdon to start the fourth and final quarter of this Michigan High School Football Game of the Week on Newsnet Sports. We've seen a fantastic game. Plays being made on both sides of the football. In the third quarter, Blake Swiger recovered a fumble from Austin Bills to bring the Vikings within 2 points. And then Josh Burnham swelled the lead back up to 9 with his third rushing touchdown. As on second down, and the ball's on the floor, Gurdon is stripped, and it's recovered by Josh Burnham. Aiden Gurdon with his second turnover of the game. Technically his third, because the pitch to Colin Johnson was never secured, so 3 turnovers for the junior quarterback, who entered tonight with no turnovers as the Trojans' defense has turned up the pressure here in the second half. And now TC Central looking to make this a 3-score game. 1st and 10 from the 44. Burnham fakes. Now he's looking deep. He's got a man. Dante Williams just out of the reach of his junior wide receiver. Burnham has had 3 occasions where one of his receivers was a couple yards behind a Vikings cornerback and has just not been able to connect for that home run all night. Incomplete pass makes it 2nd and 10 as the Trojans look to bleed a little bit of clock. Burnham out of the shotgun. Hall in motion. Burnham on the keeper. Burnham cuts it upfield. Got the first down and more. Finally dragged down after a gain of 11 by Colin Johnston. But Josh Burnham has been an issue tonight, a problem you can solve. Burnham's been an issue for this Vikings defense. Josh Burnham limping off, so we will see under center Ryan Royston. The senior actually threw a touchdown pass to Josh Burnham in the opening week win against the TC West Titans. 1st and 10. Give goes to Carson Bordeaux on the jet sweep. Bordeaux slips out of 1 tackle. Finally dragged down after a gain of 11. Consecutive first down carries. And TC Central's in business in Cadillac territory. And keep in mind, this Trojans offense heading into tonight averaged 324 yards rushing per game. The Vikings defense has made life difficult on a couple occasions, but you see how potent this offense is. Royston under center for 1st and 10. Hall in motion, jet sweep to Hall. Cuts it upfield and then cuts it back outside. Carson Hall. Nifty bit of running, finally dragged down by Noah Cochran. Just shy of the 25-yard line. And you see how many different ways this TC Central offense can hit you. Generally, they hit you with Burnham and Bills running downhill, but they can get you on the edge with Bordeaux and Carson Hall as well. Gain of 7 brings up 2nd and 3 for TC Central. Royston still in the game, and we're going to get a timeout from head coach Eric Schugers, as we have another chance to go ahead and thank our sponsors for bringing us tonight's contest for the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. It's been a doozy, so we want to go ahead and give a huge shout-out thank you to Great Lakes Energy, Wolverine Power Cooperative, and Doug Class, your window shop specialists. And, of course, the crew. And you see that beautiful shot right there? Working 2 different cameras down there is Sky Perry. She's doing a fantastic job. And, of course, always an A-plus performance from our director, Wyatt Van Dynen. And I'm Derek Tate. Thank you for joining us on this cold evening at Veterans Memorial Stadium overlooking Lake Cadillac for this showdown in the Big North Conference. A battle of unbeatens, and it's lived up to the billing. We resume play. 2nd and 3 for TC Central. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Burnham back in at quarterback. He gives to Austin Bills. Runs right through one would-be tackler and dragging another inside the 10-yard line, as this offense is starting to lean and wear down this Vikings unit who's been on the field for quite some time here in the second half. 16-yard carry from Austin Bills, and we got 1st and goal from the 9. Hall in motion. He gets the jet sweep. Cuts it upfield. Hall looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Trojans. Carson Hall with the 9-yard touchdown run. That's his 2nd or 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. And TC Central leads 25-10. And we see the Trojans keeping the offense out on the football field. A 2-point conversion would make this a 3-score contest with only 9 minutes remaining. Quarterback power, Burnham. Not touchdown, but the 2-point conversion is good. It looked like there was just a rugby scrum in front of him. Showed some patience, navigated his way to pay dirt. And TC Central now leads by 17 by a score of 27-10. 9:03 remaining. We'll get you caught up on all the action up to this point and how we've arrived at 27-10. Started off with Josh Burnham, 69-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. A 22-yard field goal by Colin Hess, and then a 1-yard touchdown run with 9 seconds remaining in the second quarter to give TC Central a 12-3 lead heading into the third quarter. But in the third quarter, disaster struck. First offensive snap, Austin Bills fumbles, Blake Swiger recovers and returns it for a touchdown, makes it a 12-10 game. And then they fumbled the ensuing kickoff, but unfortunately the Vikings offense here in the second half has been stymied by a stout Trojans defense. Josh Burnham scored on a 10-yard touchdown run, his third of the evening on the ground to make it 19-10 at the end of the third quarter. And then Carson Hall just knocked in a 9-yard score of his own. Colin Johnston returns it to the 34-yard line. That's where the Vikings have a lot of work to do with 8:58 remaining in tonight's contest. And despite this being a 27-10 game, this one's been much closer than the scoreboard might indicate. And if you're the Vikings, you may look back at those 2 missed opportunities deep in Trojan territory in the first quarter that saw drives end with turnovers. Vikings take over Gurdon with 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. Gurdon running the option and decides to keep it himself. Gain of a couple. Ronald Drudge, the senior, 5'11", 247, got his big old paws on Aiden Gurdon and dragged him down. Gain of 2 for Gurdon, 2nd and 8. A rough night for Gurdon. 3 total turnovers. He's got a lot of work to do. Vikings have moved the ball, though. 2nd and 8. Harsh in motion. Pitch goes to Reinhold. Reinhold is going to be dropped for a loss. In the backfield, Carson Bordeaux. The man head coach Eric Schugers calls the quarterback of his defense. He mentioned is really coming into his own. We saw a pick in the first half from Carson Bordeaux. He's just all over the football field. That is a loss of 5. Check that. Bringing up 3rd and 13 for the Vikings. And really, they may be in 4-down territory. Gurdon rolling right. In trouble. Steps up. Through Colin Hess's hands. And that's the second interception of the night from Carson Bordeaux. And he's still going. Cuts it back. And he may have his second pick 6 in consecutive weeks. Touchdown, Trojans. Second interception of the night thrown by Gurdon, and both coming from the hands of Carson Bordeaux. And for the second straight week, he takes one to the house. Last week, it was an 85-yard touchdown on an interception return. This week, it was a 40-yarder. And the Trojans extend their lead to 33-10 with the extra point pending. Kick is up. And it splits the uprights, as this one has blown wide open in what feels like a heartbeat, as the TC Central Trojans lead the Cadillac Vikings 34-10. So just as quickly as we saw this become a game and potentially the Vikings threatening to take the lead in the third quarter after 2 consecutive fumbles by the Trojans, the Trojans return the favor in the fourth quarter, striking quickly with Carson Hall on a 9-yard score, a 2-point conversion that was good from Josh Burnham, and then Carson Bordeaux with a 40-yard interception return for a touchdown. Consider how young this season is. That is the 4th interception from Carson Bordeaux. And there's a reason why when head coach Eric Schuger mentioned that they have what he likes to call the killer bees. They joke around about it. Burnham, Bills, and Bordeaux, and they've all 3 shown up tonight. Still, and that may be another disaster for the Vikings, as it goes off the foot of Andrew Johns. And it is recovered by the Trojans. I'm not 100% sure that was on purpose, but bank error in your favor if you play Monopoly for the TC Central Trojans. And all of a sudden, they've got possession yet again, with only 7:23 remaining in this contest. Well, that's one way to not get an illegal procedure penalty. Just kick it at the up man. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line for TC Central. Burnham. Quick hitter to Bordeaux. Bordeaux, he puts the ball on the ground. And I believe that's going to be recovered by Chris Reinhold, it looked like, unless Bordeaux somehow got it back. Still trying to sort it out. And somehow Bordeaux got that one back. I've seen the ball on the ground an awful lot tonight. No idea how Bordeaux got that back, but well played, young man. 1st and 10 for the Trojans. We're at the 7-minute mark remaining in the fourth quarter. Ryan Royston has now entered the game at quarterback. Give goes to Austin Bills. Bills weaving through traffic and dragged down just inside the 25-yard line. Austin Bills wearing down this Vikings unit that has been they've got to be gassed. They've been on the field for what feels like the entire second half. 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. Royston tucks it down. There's a flag prior to the snap. Potentially a pre-snap penalty as this one's coming back. And it's holding. There's some sort of, I missed the call, my humble apologies, but it is a penalty that will back up the TC Central Trojans 5 yards. Make it 1st and 15 from the 29-yard line. Looks like Burnham's night might be done. Royston enters the game. The senior does a little bit of everything. Royston fakes the jet sweep, keeps it himself. His first carry of the game, he gets back the penalty yardage. Gain of 5. Royston entering tonight, 6 carries for 42 yards and a touchdown on the ground this season. He actually threw a touchdown pass to Josh Burnham in the win against the TC West Titans. We still see Austin Bills, Carson Hall, and Carson Bordeaux on the football field to complement Royston. 2nd and 9. Bordeaux in motion. Royston gives to Bills. Austin Bills slips one tackle, still going inside the 10, lunging towards the goal line, but dragged down just shy of it. 22-yard run from Austin Bills. He is over the century mark on the ground. And they are threatening to punch in yet another score here in the second half. First and goal from the 2. Royston gives. Straight up the middle. Across the goal line. Touchdown, TC Central. I believe it was number 44 on the carry, and Damon Livingston, the junior. On a 2-yard touchdown run. Still on to attempt the extra point. Kick is up and good. And what was a 12-10 game with 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, within the span of 12 minutes, the lead has swelled to 31 as the Trojans lead the Vikings 41-10. As we start to look forward, both of these teams still have work to do for the rest of the 2020 high school football season. As we take a look ahead, as now the TC Central Trojans are in the driver's seat in the Big North Conference. Next week they'll be home against Alpena, the Wildcats. Then they'll take on Gaylord on the road and see what they can do against the Blue Devils. But for the Cadillac Vikings, their next 3 opponents, they'll be taking on the Petoskey Northmen and the TC West Titans on the road. And they'll finish their regular season here at home, and we'll have the coverage on October 26th against the Gaylord Blue Devils. Austin Sill on to kick off. And Chris Reinhold takes it at the 20-yard line. Reinhold stiff arms one would-be tackler and muscles his way down to the 36-yard line. That's where the Vikings will take over with 5:08 remaining in the first half. First half. Remaining in the fourth quarter of this game. If you're the Cadillac Vikings, you had your chances in this game. Your defense was up to the challenge through the first 3 quarters. A couple unfortunate bounces that didn't go your way. But still a lot to work on and a lot to take forward into the rest of the season as Aiden Gurdon is on the carry. 7-yard carry for the junior quarterback, who has had his moments in this game, done some damage on the ground. He's certainly show why head coach Cody Mallory is so excited about this junior moving forward into this season and beyond, as the Vikings have a 2nd and 3 at the 43-yard line. Reinhold in motion. There's a late pitch in traffic, but it's good to go, and there goes Chris Reinhold. Reinhold to the 30. Got one man to beat. He is gone. Touchdown, Chris Reinhold. A 57-yard touchdown run from the sophomore running back.
Chris Reinhold with a 57-yard score.
The first touchdown of the season for Chris Reinhold. And his first as a member of this Vikings varsity unit. Impressive stuff and a bright young future for Chris Reinhold. Colin Hess on to attempt the extra point. Kick is up. And good. The Cadillac Vikings continuing to fight as they cut into that deficit. Trojans still lead 41-17. Ultimately, out here at Veterans Memorial Stadium or something like that. Sorry about that. But we've seen the TC Central Trojans respond to a little bit of adversity. Once the Vikings made this a game, and really the Vikings executed on offense so well with the exception of a couple mistakes, but one of the keys to victory for the Vikings heading into this matchup was taking care of the football. Last week they had 4 lost fumbles, and the writing was a little bit on the wall that you have to take better care of the football. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case here tonight. Far too many turnovers, giving the Trojans extra possessions. And against Josh Burnham, Austin Bills, and the rest of that Trojans offense, that's a tall order to ask your defense to stand up to that amount of talent and give them an extra possession. Colin Hess to kick off. 4:10 remaining in the fourth quarter. Vikings trailing 41-17. And going up the right sideline and back into Vikings territory. Can't quite catch the number from this far away, but an impressive return. Looks like it's Austin Bills, who's still doing work into the fourth quarter. Fantastic return. Almost took that one to the house. Return to the 43-yard line. There is a flag, and it looks like it's going to be a face mask on the Vikings. That face mask may have scored or saved a touchdown. And it'll be 1st and 10 with 4:01 remaining in the fourth quarter. Trojans trying to salt this one away. Royston under center in the shotgun. Give goes to Alex Schmidt on the jet sweep. Past the 35-yard line, dragged down by the sophomore Connor Anderson. His first tackle of the night. 4-yard gain makes it 2nd and 6. As the Trojans will improve to 3-0 in the Big North Conference. At the midway point of this 2020 Michigan high school football season, the Vikings will drop to 2-1 on the year. As we get 2nd and 6, Royston gives to Livingston. Livingston, if you're going to tackle him, he's going to make you pay. Sticking his nose in there is Caleb McKinley, the sophomore, and we see a new set of bodies up front for the Trojans offensive line. At the 3-minute mark, 3rd and 2 for TC Central. Royston out of the shotgun. Here goes the jet sweep to Luke Linder. Linder cuts it upfield. Linder's got the sideline and dragged down inside the 15-yard line. Linder with a 15-yard carry, and that'll move the chains. The Vikings defense stood strong for right around 2.5 quarters, but the Trojans offense finally weared them down. Schmidt on the jet sweep around the left edge. And almost a replay of a couple plays ago, it's Connor Anderson on the tackle. 5-yard gain, and we're at the 2-minute mark remaining in this Michigan high school football game of the week. Royston under center and a new fullback in alongside him. Chase Adams gets the call. He's going nowhere. Stacked up by that defensive line unit for the Vikings. Leading the charge, Keenan Marr, a sophomore linebacker. No gain. Brings up third and, well, it's a small gain. Check that. 3rd and 4 with 1:25 remaining in this contest. Livingston alongside Royston in the backfield. 3rd and 4. They need the 5-yard line to keep the drive alive. Give goes to Luke Schmidt on the jet sweep. And he may move the chains. He's cut down right around the 5-yard line. Tackled by Dan Gray, the senior safety. And that will move the chains, and we'll see if the Trojans want to go ahead and try to salt this one away. Reed Seabase alongside Ryan Royston in the shotgun set. 1st and goal. Give goes to Seabase. Puts his shoulder down. Dragged down by Dylan Boersma, the senior defensive lineman. And this should be the final play of action here unless the Trojans find pay dirt. And Royston may take the shotgun and just kneel this one down. And he does. That was actually Josh Klug who takes the knee. And that'll do it. That'll be the final score as the TC Central Trojans improve to 3-0 in the Big North Conference as they best the Cadillac Vikings by a final score of 41-17. Stay tuned here on Newsnet Sports as we'll have our post-game show here on Newsnet Sports to wrap up our Michigan high school football game of the week.
Doug Glass is ready to make the bathroom of your dreams a reality. Doug Glass is a full-service provider of quality custom shower doors. We offer a wide selection of models, finishes, and glass options. From cast to pattern glass, we can custom build a shower door perfect for your bathroom. Stop in and see the heavy glass displays in our showroom. And remember, Doug Glass also offers puller seal windows and patio doors. We're also your local source for auto glass, from windshields to side and rear windows. Whatever your needs, call or visit Doug Glass today for a free estimate.
Our mission at the Wexford Misaki Career Technical Center is to prepare you for career success. During your junior and senior year, you can explore and train for career options in one of 15 hands-on programs. While you're exploring and training, you can take advantage of free college credits, scholarships, co-op on-the-job training, industry certifications, and career counseling. All of this while you're in high school. Enrollment is easy and free. Are you ready to explore and train for your career at the Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center?
High school sports are brought to you in part by Wolverine Power Cooperative and by Great Lakes Energy. Your local electric cooperative is looking out for you.
Post-game show here at Veterans Memorial Stadium as this showdown in the Big North Conference lived up to the billing of the Michigan high school football game of the week here on Newsnet Sports as the TC Central Trojans bested the Cadillac Vikings by a final score of 41-17. I'm Derek Tate bringing you the post-game show. And despite the score being 41-17, this game was far more competitive and closer than the final box score would indicate. And we'll break down the scoring here as the Cadillac Vikings are going to look back at this game, and the theme is going to be missed opportunities and mistakes because of turnovers. The Vikings had 2 drives in the opening quarter stall because of turnovers, an interception by Aiden Gurdon, by Chris Bordeaux, and then a fumble on a pitch from Gurdon to Colin Johnston, who couldn't handle it, and it was Caden Warner, who fell on it And Josh Burnham, though, was the story of the game, as he seems to always be for the TC Central Trojans. 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. He did it last year to the Cadillac Vikings, and he did it again this season. And despite this one looking like it was going to be completely different than how it played out last season in the 41-13 victory, which clinched the Big North Conference title for the TC Central Trojans, unfortunately, the final score was only 4 points different, 41-17. But this played out very differently because in the second quarter, the Vikings defense really through the first 2.5 quarters was absolutely stout, fantastic, and up to the challenge against this loaded offense for the TC Central Trojans. They actually cut the lead in half down to 6-3 with a Colin Hess 22-yard field goal. Unfortunately, that was by far the trip that pushed the furthest into Trojan territory, got all the way down to the 4-yard line. The drive stalled, and they had to settle for a field goal. Burnham led a drive all the way down the field to close the first half and punched it in from the 1-yard line, giving them a 12-3 advantage heading into the third quarter. But then the Vikings forced 2 consecutive fumbles, one of which was returned by Blake Swagger, which may be the play of the 2020 Michigan high school football season for the Cadillac Vikings. Absolutely entertaining. It made it 12-10, and it stayed that way through the halfway point of the third quarter. But then this Trojans offense just began to lean on the Cadillac Vikings defense. The Vikings defense was on the field way too long towards the end of the game and gave up 29 unanswered points to close it out, including Carson Bordeaux, who returned his second interception for a touchdown in as many weeks consecutively, with a 40-yard interception return for a touchdown. And then Damon Livingston also scored from 2 yards out. Carson Hall with a 9-yard touchdown run. And, just for good measure, Josh Burnham also scored on a 2-point conversion. Josh Burnham was really the difference maker in the game for the TC Central Trojans. For the Cadillac Vikings, we have seen so much positive, good play from Aiden Gurdon, and we saw it even tonight in glimpses, but too many mistakes collectively as a unit for the Cadillac Vikings to beat a team of this caliber, the TC Central Trojans. As we mentioned before, this may be what clinches the Big North Conference for the TC Central Trojans for a second straight season, although they still have 2 more games left in the Big North Conference, as next week they'll be taking on Alpena and then Gaylord on the road in the next 2 weeks. For the Vikings, they finish their Big North Conference play on the road in consecutive weeks against Petoskey and the TC West Titans. And then we will see you here for the final game of the season for the Cadillac Vikings against Gaylord on October 26th. But boy, that was an exciting one, but an unclimatic finish. But thank you for joining us here on NewsNet Sports as the TC Central Trojans stay perfect on the season and improve to 3-0 by a final score of 41-17. I'm Derek Tate. Thank you for tuning in to the Michigan High School Football Game of the Week. We'll see you next time on NewsNet Sports.